guys, so today I actually wanted to do a bit more of a happy, kind of frivolous video until the news this evening. Some of you may be well aware, and some of you may not be aware, that yesterday there was a massive shooting in Christchurch, New Zealand, at a mosque that killed over 40 people and injured 20.
It is with extreme sadness that I tell you that as at 7 p.m. tonight, we believe that 40 people have lost their lives in this act of extreme violence. 10 have died at Linwood Avenue Mosque. 30 have been killed at Deans Avenue Mosque. There are also more than 20 seriously injured who are currently in Christchurch A&E.
This is definitely New Zealand's biggest firearm attack in decades, and our biggest attack in general since 1993. The people responsible for the attack were a group of Islamophobic activists.
These are people who I would describe as having extremist views that have absolutely no place in New Zealand.
Who decided to fire off a firearm at 2 separate mosques in Christchurch.
It is clear that this can now only be described as a terrorist attack.
When the New Zealand Defence Force arrived at the scene to disarm the people involved in the shooting, they found IEDs strapped to the cars, meaning that they were potentially going to lead up to a suicide bombing.
2 explosive devices attached to suspects' vehicles have now been found, and they have been disarmed.
This year is certainly not looking any better than last year when it comes to discrimination and hate crimes, and 40 people dead is certainly not a good indication that we're getting anywhere quickly. I think this feeds into a much larger issue going on here that even feeds into events that happened last week with the Newport Mesa High School Nazi incident, where we have a new situation in society where people are feeling threatened, like it's us versus them, and a lot of much more niche activists are starting to act out in very aggressive ways. I encourage and implore each and every one of you to look at the commonalities between you and the people around you, and not the differences. I think you'll find we have much more meaningful ties to each other when we focus on the things we have in common rather than the things that we disagree with. I also encourage all of us to look within ourselves and really question ourselves on how we feel about other people and what we believe. Events like this are a horrible reminder of what can happen when we harbor negative ideologies and stereotypes toward other people, and it's always important that we hold ourselves accountable and be able to let go of ideologies or stereotypes that can instigate aggressive action. Before I go, I know not all of you are religious, but I know that the victims of the shooting definitely were religious, given that they were gathering for a Friday evening prayer service when they were shot to death. So I would just like to ask all of you that do believe in prayer to pray for those in mourning, and just that they can have some sense of comfort during this time. I'm not pushing religiosity, I just think it's important for us to be able to sympathize with those around us when they have a loss, especially to this degree. It's important that the world knows that we stand in solidarity with the community in Christchurch, the Islamic community in Christchurch right now, as they mourn. And I implore all of you to make sure that we don't let the heinous peoples and ideologies responsible for attacks like this to feel that they have some sort of purveying message in society. Thank you very much for listening, if you still are, and let's hope that we have some more fun things to talk about next week. Bye.
We, New Zealand, we were not a target because we are a safe harbour for those who hate. We were not chosen for this act of violence because we condone racism, because we're an enclave for extremism. We were chosen for the very fact that we are none of these things, because we represent diversity, kindness, compassion, a home for those who share our values, refuge for those who need it. And those values, I can assure you, will not and cannot be shaken by this attack. We are a proud nation of more than 200 ethnicities, 160 languages, and amongst that diversity we share common values. One that we place the currency on right now and tonight is our compassion and the support for the community of those directly affected by this tragedy. And secondly, the strongest possible condemnation of the ideology of the people who did this. You may have chosen us, but we utterly reject and condemn you.